Hey everyone, and welcome back. We've got a really interesting deep dive for you today.
Yeah, should be a good one.
Two stories that I think highlight just how much technology is impacting like every single part of our lives these days.
Absolutely.
On one hand, we're going to be talking about Canada and their kind of unique approach to TikTok.
Right.
It's kind of like they want to break up with TikTok, but not really.
Exactly.
You're dissolving the business in Canada, but not actually banning the app itself.
A very interesting approach, for sure.
Yeah, and then we'll switch gears completely and look at this incident at the NYC Marathon.
Oh yeah, this one's juicy.
A social media influencer trying to get that perfect shot.
Trying a little too hard, I'd say.
Yeah, it definitely backfired.
Big time.
So let's dive right into this TikTok situation in Canada.
Sounds good.
So basically the Canadian government is saying, we don't really trust TikTok,
Right.
but we're not going to stop you from using it.
Yeah, it seems like a bit of a mixed message, right?
It does. What's the strategy there? Well, it's a tough one, you know. I think they're trying to balance a couple of things.
Okay.
On the one hand, you've got these national security concerns.
Right, because of the whole Chinese ownership thing.
Exactly, and the potential for data risks, you know?
Yeah, that's been a big concern with TikTok for a while.
Oh, absolutely.
But then on the other hand, they also want to respect people's freedom to use the app if they want to.
Right. It's a tricky situation.
So how are they actually doing this? Like, what's the legal mechanism here?
So they're using something called the Investment Canada Act,
Okay.
and they're using it to dissolve TikTok's Canadian branch.
So the company itself is gone,
Right.
but Canadians can still use the app.
For now, at least.
Oh, is there a chance that could change?
But TikTok has already said they're going to challenge this order in court.
Ah, so it's going to get interesting.
Oh, yeah. This could drag on for a while.
So this is kind of a different approach than what we've seen in the US, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, remember when the Trump administration tried to ban TikTok altogether?
Oh, yeah, that was the whole thing.
And then more recently, there was that legislation about forcing a sale of TikTok to a US company.
Right. They're worried about those pro-China narratives, you know?
The whole idea that TikTok could be used to push certain viewpoints.
Exactly. And with the app being so popular, especially among younger people,
Yeah.
it's a real concern for them.
So do you think Canada is like charting its own course here, or are they just following the US's lead
It's hard to say for sure, but they are echoing a lot of the same concerns.
about data security and potential Chinese government influence
Exactly. It's almost like this global tug of war over technology is playing out.
between China and the West?
Yeah, and TikTok is right in the middle of it.
It's a big deal.
Huge. And the stakes are only getting higher.
So with all this going on, there are some experts who are raising some interesting points.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like Michael Geist, he's this internet law expert at the University of Ottawa.
I know him. Yeah, he's brilliant.
He's saying that by getting rid of the company but keeping the app, Canada might actually be making things less transparent and accountable.
It's an interesting argument.
So how does that work?
Well, the Investment Canada Act, which is what they're using here,
Right.
it's all about making sure that foreign investments are actually good for Canada.
Okay.
So in this case, they're saying TikTok's presence in Canada is a security risk.
Right.
But Geis is arguing that by targeting the company but not the app,
Yeah.
they're making it harder to hold TikTok accountable for how they handle data and stuff.
So it's like a bit of a paradox.
In a way, yeah.
Trying to increase security by making things less transparent.
It's a tough one, and it really makes you think about how effective these kinds of measures actually are.
Yeah, and what the unintended consequences might be.
It's a complex issue for sure.
And you know, it kind of feels like with technology, it's always this game of whack-a-mole.
Huh? Yeah, I see what you mean.
You try to address one problem,
Right.
and then another one pops up somewhere else.
Exactly, and it's happening so fast, it's hard to keep up.
It really is.
It makes you wonder what the next challenge will be, you know?
Definitely something to think about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a constantly changing landscape for sure. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about this whole marathon incident.
Oh, yeah, the influencer who got himself banned.
Yeah, exactly. This guy, Matthew Choi,
What a mess.
he was running the NYC Marathon.
One of the biggest marathons in the world.
Huge event. Thousands of runners all pushing themselves to the limit, and this guy decides to bring a whole camera crew with him.
Wait, what? Like a full-on film crew?
Yep, on e-bikes no less.
Seriously. Talk about a distraction.
Yeah, not exactly the most low-key way to run a marathon.
I mean, you're already trying to run 26 miles. The last thing you need is a bunch of cameras in your face.
Exactly, and unsurprisingly, it didn't go over well.
Not at all.
Choi ended up getting disqualified from the race.
And banned from future New York Roadrunners events.
Yeah, they weren't messing around.
Can you blame him?
Nope, he totally broke the rules.
Both the NYRR's Code of Conduct and World Athletics rules,
It's pretty clear you can't have unauthorized assistance on the course.
especially not motorized assistance. Come on.
And it's not like he was even close to winning, you know?
Right, this wasn't about him trying to get a personal best or anything.
Yeah, Choi finished with a time of 2 hours, 57 minutes, and 15 seconds.
Respectable time for sure.
Yeah, but the winner crossed the finish line in just over 2 hours.
So, not even in the same ballpark,
Nope. It seemed like his main goal was getting content.
which didn't really work out for him in the end.
Oh, definitely not. The social media reaction was brutal.
Oh, I bet people were furious.
Yeah, I saw one comment on Reddit that was like, seeing him and his crew was so annoying, it just made me want to pass him even faster.
Huh, I love that.
The internet does not hold back,
Nope, they let him have it.
and rightfully so. It's a marathon it's supposed to be about.
The challenge, the camaraderie.
Exactly, the shared experience.
Choi's whole stunt just kind of went against the spirit of the event.
Yeah, it's funny, in a way, he set out to capture this amazing moment,
To create this unique piece of content.
and he ended up with the exact opposite.
A total PR disaster.
It's a cautionary tale, you know?
Be careful what you wish for.
Especially when it comes to chasing internet fame.
Sometimes it can backfire in a big way.
To be fair to Choi, he did apologize.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he posted on Instagram saying he was selfish and that he realized he'd negatively impacted other runners.
Well, at least he owned up to it.
Yeah, he even said, I made my bed, so I'm gonna lay in it.
Okay, that's taking responsibility.
So at least there's that.
It's a start, but it still brings up some big questions, you know?
About content creation and ethics.
Exactly. Where do you draw the line between getting the shot and respecting the event?
Especially in the age of social media where everyone's trying to go viral.
It's a tricky balance for sure.
Yeah, it really does make you think, like, where's that line? You know, how do we balance that? Being creative and wanting to share our experiences, but also, like, respecting everyone else.
It's a huge question, right?
Yeah,
And it's not just about marathons or even just sporting events in general.
it's like everywhere now.
Yeah, it's like filming in public spaces, sharing personal stories online, all that stuff.
Exactly, where do we draw those boundaries?
And those lines can get so blurry sometimes.
Oh, totally, and I think that's where the whole ethics thing comes in.
The ethics of content creation.
Right, like, we have to start asking ourselves some tough questions.
Like what? Give me an example.
Well, like, am I invading someone's privacy with this? Am I being disruptive? Am I just trying to exploit this situation to get famous?
It's heavy stuff.
It is, and it's a conversation we need to be having more and more, especially with social media being so huge these days.
Social media has become so powerful.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about making videos or whatever anymore.
It's about responsibility.
Exactly. You have a platform, you have an audience, you have an impact.
So it's not just on the creators though, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I think as viewers, as consumers of all this content, we have a responsibility too.
To be more critical, yes. To question what we're seeing online, to think about the motivations behind it, and to really engage in thoughtful discussions about these issues.
Because at the end of the day, both of these stories, whether it's Canada and TikTok or the marathon influencer, they're kind of about the same thing.
How technology is changing everything.
Exactly, and how we're still trying to figure out how to deal with it all.
It's a constant evolution, and there are no easy answers.
Definitely not, but talking about it, being aware of the potential problems, that's a good start.
Absolutely, and trying to find that balance
Yeah.
between
Expressing ourselves.
and respecting the community.
Yeah, and being responsible with all this amazing technology we have.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's not about being afraid of technology, right?
Not at all.
It's about using it wisely, ethically.
For good instead of bad.
Exactly. Well said.
Thanks.
Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive.
Another one down.
Hope you all enjoyed it and learned something new.
And that it sparked some good conversations out there.
Ah.